How are we doing, folks? Welcome back to the show. This is the upper tier. We're on location today, not in our usual studio setting. But I'm in work today, but I said I'd cover the Champions League draw kicking off at 11 o'clock. So we're kind of just over 10 minutes away from the draw. Always a very exciting time for Premier League fans who are involved in the draw and stuff like that. It gives you a kind of a, let's say, a framework for where your football is going to go in the spring and stuff like that, and the preparation that's needed. And everyone does be praying that they get a draw that kind of like, gives them an easier passage, say, into the eights and the quarters and the semis and all. And Liverpool, we got a reasonable draw last year to the final and stuff like that, which was really good. Just couldn't get the job done at fell at the last fence, if you like. But yeah, a bit of fun today, just covering the draw. It's going to be starting at 11. So we'll bring you the draw live, and we'll bring you our reaction to the different ties that come out. We will be going through, of course, the permutations of who each team can get and who we think they'd like to get, and maybe who they're likely to get. And we'll give our predictions. Darren will be joining me shortly. He'll let me know his thoughts on the draw and stuff like that. He'll be on location, I think, in the Jeep. Um, so it's a bit of fun. It's like a road show really today for the upper tier. Not necessarily all the equipment we normally have and stuff like that. So if you're in the comments or in the chat or watching, let us know if everything's okay. You can hear us both visually and through our audio and stuff like that. It's not the normal setup. So hopefully it's all good for you. Hopefully you're looking forward to the draw. And if you're a neutral, of course, jump into the chat and let us know what your thoughts are on the draw. And who you think the Premier League teams would like to get or avoid. It's always a fun time and stuff like that. Warren's in the chat. Uh, I'm really good, Warren. I'll just show this one. Yeah, hi Warren. Yeah, I'm really good. Also looking forward to the show. We're going to be doing a show, I think, next Tuesday week. Myself and Warren and Dale and Kyle Gunner. Check out their channels as well and stuff like that. Drop a like and subscribe. Let's keep this community growing. Doesn't matter who you follow. We're all brothers in arms and this kind of thing. So keep it all growing. Yeah, great win yesterday for us, Warren. Delighted, got over the line, very, very lucky. It could have ended up 3-2 to Spurs. We were horrific second half, but got the job done, which means it was a great weekend for you guys, albeit Man City got that win at the death with that dodgy penalty decision. But you guys back on top of the league again, start believing, keep it going and stuff like that, enjoy the ride while you can. And who knows where it might take you now. One more game in the league, and then we're all off on a kind of a 4 or 5 week sabbatical where we'll be doing all kind of different shows and stuff like that. But hopefully Arsenal get the job done next weekend as well. They're doing absolutely great. You should all row in, get behind them and stuff like that. Absolutely fantastic win for you guys at the weekend there. Who do I want to get in the draw? First of all, it looks good, mate. This is where I work. This is the shop. It's very unusual surroundings here. Warren, who do you want to get in the draw? It's a real conundrum for us this year. I mean, obviously, straight up want to avoid Real Madrid. 100% want to avoid Real Madrid. Someone else can deal with them for the next couple of rounds. Benfica is an interesting one because of the Nunes connection. Porto will be interesting because of the Diaz connection. And Bayern Munich will be interesting because of the Sadio Mane connection. So it's a kind of an interesting one, Warren. I don't think I've ever gone into a draw with so many connectors through all the teams, the permutations of the teams that we could get, where there's going to be some sort of a narrative or a story or a link in one way or another. So it's going to be really, really interesting from that point of view. Bayern outside of Real Madrid, if you hope we don't get them. Outside of that, Bayern would probably be next. I'd be quite happy with Benfica. I'd be quite happy with Porto. Not devaluing them in any way. They've been absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I just think like history would suggest those two teams going to Anfield, we should be okay. Bayern Munich might be a different proposition. And I think, as far as I know, because we're, if you like, the far side of the draw, the unseeded side, if you like, we came second in the group. I think we play at home first. if I'm not mistaken, but they'll figure that out in the draw anyway. And if that's the case, I'd rather be going back to Anfield for the second leg, if you like, because it always makes a huge difference, and no team likes going to Anfield. If we get Bayern Munich, so be it. It's just the thoughts of some kind of, Leroy Sané or Sadio Mane going up against Trent Alexander-Arnold would be a very interesting storyline, if you like. Yeah, that was a massive win for you lot yesterday. Do you think you've turned the corner now? I don't know, Warren. Do you know what it is? It might be a case that we've turned the corner, but then the corner runs out and we're all off on our holidays during the World Cup. I see Dazzler there in the background now, so I'm going to bring him in. Heavy D and the boys coming in to join me. How are you, my friends?
Morning, brother Bear. How are we?
Not too bad at all. I was just saying to our viewers and stuff, that's dedication today. I'm in work here, and you're in the car, so we're jumping on to do this show. So it should be a bit of crack.
We're on the fly, Niall. On the fly.
That's it. The Upper Tier Road Show.
Absolutely.
I was just quietly giving my thoughts on the draw there. Warren's in the comments here, and he was saying, like, good win for us yesterday against Spurs and stuff like that. And a lot of the results yesterday went Arsenal's way, with the exception of probably City.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a great weekend for Arsenal, wasn't it? Obviously,
Yeah,
Spurs, Chelsea, and United all being put to the sword. I think the City result, it keeps City on their heels, so to speak. Albeit with a slightly flaky penalty. I think there was a lot of really, really poor refereeing decisions over the weekend, Niall.
Yeah.
Did you feel similar, or?
Absolutely, especially in our own game. I think the shove on Sessegnon was a penalty with Trent.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do
100%.
too.
100%.
I just think it's so unnecessary. Like, where is he going there? If Trent covers across the front of him, like, he's running out of space on the byline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Trent takes a step to his right, a bit closer to the goal, he blocks off the ball across. He doesn't necessarily need to get as close to Sessegnon. He'll probably cut the cross out. But to go and to put hands on him like that. And listen, we all remember what Roy Keane said. Give to the ref a decision to make, and the chances are he's going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely one that we got away with. There's no doubt about it.
I think really bad. Obviously you've got the penalty that's given for Brentford, which again I don't think it's a penalty. I think just because there's contact, it doesn't mean there's a penalty. I think the contact Henderson made with the boy Visa was minimal, absolutely minimal. I don't think it should have been a penalty. And on the other foot, like, I look at the three that got waved away for Forest. Now, I completely agree with what Steve Cooper said. And it's about the consistency again, Cooper said he doesn't think the penalty against Forest is a penalty, but he also thinks if it's given, that his side should have a couple as well, on the basis that if that's the kind of minimal contact we're looking at. You know what I mean? And the boy Gibbs White is obviously, he's tripped very late at the end and stuff like that. Now if they get the penalty, do they then go and get the second or the third, whatever? You can look at it either way. They probably don't get more than a draw out of it most days, I think. But I think some of the refereeing this weekend was very, very poor. Really.
Yeah, was. I think it's that whole area, isn't it? We've been talking about, where we talk about, how much contact do you let go, and what's one ref's level of contact to another ref's level of contact and stuff like that. I mentioned it yesterday in our WhatsApp group in the Chelsea Arsenal game, that it looked like it was going to be a really good game because the ref was letting stuff go. You know what I mean? He was letting the boys get stuck into each other and stuff like that. But then you see it in the other games then, and it's very, very soft, And of course, we'll be talking about it tonight on Monday Mashup at 9 o'clock. Don't forget to join us for the show tonight, folks. We'll be getting stuck into the
I think the thing that might have helped the Arsenal Chelsea game was that the rain came. And I think when the rain comes, referees tend to be a little more lenient with the type of contact they allow, because they know that the wet conditions is going to catch lads out, and a very average challenge can look like a bad challenge, or a good challenge can look like a bad challenge. So I think when the weather comes like that, I think it was good for the ref to decide, you know what, I'm going to let a little extra go here, but I do it on the basis that the conditions aren't what we'd like them to be, and to give the boys a bit of leeway. And it was clever,
Yeah, I was laughing yesterday when I seen our boy Cucurella and he was soaked. He looked like, when you take one of those hairy dogs out of a bath after giving it a bath, he was absolutely pounded. He must have come off the pitch about 2 stone heavier than when he went on. It was so funny to see him like that. The hair was just absolutely flattened right down. It was gas to see it. But yeah, let's get into. Let's have a quick talk then about the draw today, and we'll bring up the graphic that we used on Thursday. Because it's the one that shows kind of the permutations that we can have and stuff like that. I mean, as we know with the draw, obviously you can't draw a team from your own country at this stage, and you also can't draw a team that was originally in your group. So for Liverpool coming second, that's it minimizes, let's say, the options. And I was saying before you came on that it's interesting. No matter what team we draw in this teams that are available to us, every one of them, the narrative is already set, the story is already laid down. Because if you look at Real Madrid obviously beat us last year in the final. If you look at Benfica, we've got the Darwin Núñez connection. Porto, we have the Diaz connection, and obviously Bayern Munich, we have the Sadio Mane connection. So the story's already written, no matter who we draw.
Absolutely,
so it's interesting from that point of view. I think when we spoke, go ahead, Jet.
I think with the possibilities of who you could have gotten, I don't think it's a bad list. I think the only team you would really fear in there is Real. I think other than that, we fancy it against Benfica and Porto, and it will be a tight game against Bayern. But it's not a game you couldn't, or a toy you couldn't get through.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just trying to clarify earlier, and I wasn't sure. In this stage in the draw, you might know, is it the team that's say not seeded, say second in pot 2, if you like, or whatever way they do it. Let's say Liverpool, who came second in the group. Do they play at home first?
First, that's correct. Yeah, Liverpool definitely play home first.
That's the only thing. I'd rather be going to Anfield for the second leg. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and again, I think it makes the toy slightly more difficult, but it doesn't make it difficult enough that you won't be able to get over the line type thing.
Yeah, they're just UEFA have just started the coverage of the draw now. The road to Istanbul 23.
Istanbul this year.
Yeah,
bringing back good memories, Niall, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just you wonder sometimes, is it written? You wonder sometimes, is it written? You heard Klopp last year. Remember after the Champions League final, he turned around and he said, "Book your tickets now for Istanbul." Little did he know. Little did he know the struggles that would incur after saying that.
It's been a turbulent few months at Liverpool.
Quite the roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. I just heard as I was coming on there, I heard you talking about, have we turned the corner type thing. I got to be honest, I don't know if there's a corner with this Liverpool team at the minute. I just think it's up and down. It's up and down. I think there's a lot of inconsistencies there with the squad, and I think with what's going on in the squad, I think the team are doing, they're putting their best foot forward, let's say. But I think with the squad that's available to Klopp, I don't think there's much more. Obviously the league position could be looked at, but I don't think there's much more that you guys could be doing. Do you know what I mean?
In terms of Europe, yeah. I mean, the European.
Yeah, well, Europe, absolutely Europe. I think in the league, obviously, you'd want the league position to be a bit higher. Yeah. But I mean, I don't think at the minute with the squad that you guys have, that you're in the bracket there with say City are at the minute. Just because of the City squad, and what they've got in comparison to you guys. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of teams in that league. There's a lot of teams in the league at the minute that are only a couple of injuries away from being a very average team. And we look what's happened with Spurs. Spurs have had a couple of injuries. Arsenal haven't had their injuries yet.
Mm,
United have had a few injuries and stuff like that. And again, it's only when we start to strip back peel the layers back on the onion and see what the squad is like underneath it that we understand
yeah.
what's needed for some of these teams.
Um, and Real Madrid. Warren's just there telling us who we can get. I have the graphic. It looks like according to UEFA, you can only get Porto, Bayern, Real Madrid, and Benfica. Is that right? Yeah, that's spot on, Warren. I have it there in the graphic there. They're all the permutations in front of you there, who each team can get. So I have it down already there. So yeah, Porto, Bayern, Real, and Benfica is the only permutations for us. Oh, look, there's no easy games in the Champions League. There's just easier games. But I think yeah, that's the lineup for us, Warren. And like I said, every team we can possibly get, the narrative and the story is practically already written. So it'll be really, really interesting to see. I mean, obviously, if I can avoid Real Madrid and avoid Bayern Munich, I'd be very, very happy. But we shall see. Yeah, Darren, I think you're right as well in the point that you make in terms of turning a corner. I think it's more like we're on a roundabout. And I think this season is going to be a season where we'll get some good results and we'll get some poor results. But we might potentially fall over the line of a top four spot, I'd say. So
or,
obviously,
or even or even in a cup competition.
yeah.
It
So
could be something like that where
yeah,
you maybe keep, and it's happened before at United where
yeah,
there was teams that were struggling and weren't putting their best foot forward, but because of how they've been playing over the last couple of years, and because of that winning mentality and stuff like that, they were able to fall over a line and pick up a trophy that they weren't necessarily,
yeah,
favourites to win and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, albeit the European journey for us, I think this year is going to be very, very important because I think the fans somewhat understand the struggle that we've had in the league with the injuries and the inconsistency. Even though kind of losing the Forest and Leeds is not very nice on the palate, really. But to come out yesterday, get a good result against Spurs, we did beat City. So there is kind of signs there that on a given day, with the right inspiration and the right application and the right attitude, we can go out and get a result. Again, it's putting a run of these results together. And I get the feeling we'll probably beat Southampton next weekend with the governor now gone. I forgot to mention that to Aaron, or Darren. The governor now gone. We've lost our man, the governor Ralph.
We sure have, yeah. I obviously saw a lot of the stuff come out yesterday, and then you were kind of
Mm,
wondering when would it happen and if it was going to happen before the World Cup break or if they were going to make us wait till afterwards and stuff like that. And
yeah,
then I see this morning, then they've relieved them and stuff like that. I gotta say, I think you done a decent job at Southampton. I don't think you do
yeah,
4 years at a club like Southampton without having a lot of positives. I think Southampton spent a bit of money in the summer. And I think it's
mm,
on the back of spending that money, that I think if he doesn't spend that money and they're in 18th, there's no big deal.
yeah,
But I think because he's obviously had an outlay on players, now again, albeit they use a very similar model to, say, Leipzig, where they're buying a lot of the better, younger, talented players around.
yeah,
And they go to give them a platform in which that they can put their best foot forward, and then you can maybe look at moving them on in a season or two and maximizing your outlay. If you spend 10 or 15, getting 30 to 40 back. So it's very, very clever. But I don't think he's got the lads singing from the hymn sheet just yet. A lot of the new lads haven't hit the ground running.
yeah,
And that's caused issues at Southampton,
yeah.
It
It's
really
a shame.
has.
It's a shame, really, to think that he wouldn't be around at a time where they're going to spend a bit of money, maybe, because he's probably gone through 4 seasons of nearly every season they've sold off the crown jewels, and he's had to
Yeah,
deal with that over those 4 seasons. So it's a shame to think that now, after going through that, that when they do decide to turn around and spend a few quid and maybe bring in a bit better talent, that he's not the guy there to head it up. It seems
absolutely.
a bit harsh, doesn't it? But
It,
again,
it, it sure does, but when you spend that money, there's
yeah,
a there's stuff attached to it, and the pressure of having those guys come in and making them work in a squad and stuff like that, and making sure that the club don't look like they've outlaid money that's going to be wasted, so to speak.
yeah, yeah,
But again, I don't necessarily think they were bad signings. I think a lot of guys were good signings. They bought the kid Romeo Lavia from Man City. I think they paid about 16 to 20 million for the kid, but City insisted on a buyback clause. Now, City aren't insisting on a buyback clause unless they know this kid's a baller. The problem is he needs game time, and Ralph has struggled to get him in to the system at Southampton. He's got him in a few times, got a couple of good games out of him, got a couple of goals early on and stuff, but things haven't worked consistently for the kid yet. I know they did the same with the boy Larius, and they've also brought in Sekou Mara up front, and they brought in the lad Bella Kotchup and stuff like that, who's done quite well at centre back for them. The German lad who's done very well. Looks like he might end up in Qatar with the German national team. So again, they bought good players. The recruitment to Southampton has been good. I think the real thing that they've struggled with Southampton is replacing Danny Ings. And we spoke about it at the time that when you take, 10 to 15 goals out of a team like Southampton, it's huge. It really is. They're the games that they've been, there's yesterday. Now, obviously, they're put to the sword by Newcastle, but if they can keep that tight and they've a Danny Ings on the pitch and they can go and grab a draw and go to the next game, and then they can, again, keep things nice and tight. And I think because they don't have that goal scorer, I think what's happening is they're committing too many players to the forward positions, which is leaving them then exposed at the back, and it's a knock-on consequence from Ings leaving,
Yeah, how? What's your feeling on Ward-Prowse? Do you think he'd be angling for a move now, or do you think his days there have kind of ran its course at this stage?
I think the only thing that could keep him there is the right appointment, if I'm honest. I fully expect him to be in the England squad going to Qatar. And I think if he gets game time, and if some of the clubs around Europe see him.
Yeah.
I think they'll realise how good he man. But I think the only thing that could keep him there is, again, the right kind of an appointment, Now, I haven't looked at the betting or anything like that, so I don't know who's in the shake-up. It would surprise me greatly if they weren't going to go for a European manager. I think the way Southampton is ran like that, I think it suits to have like a European manager and stuff like that in place.
Yeah.
Because they understand the high rollover of players and stuff like that. I don't think you'll see them look at the likes of Stevie G or anything like that. I don't personally think he'd be the right kind of fit at Southampton. But again, I'm open to persuasion on it,
Yeah, no, I don't. I think you're right there, because I think their scouting system is set up very European-like as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you need that kind of fit in there to synergize it, if you like, in terms of they need to, now they've brought in, we said it on Thursday, because they're starting from such a low base. And if you remember, we said last year they were riding high in the league and then they fell away badly. So that was the risk, so a big one, so yeah. And I suppose, are they going to be in a hurry to do it, or do you reckon they'll have a caretaker in for next week against us, and then I suppose they take the time of the World Cup to get the right man,
Absolutely, because don't forget, you don't know who becomes available after the World Cup based on a poor performance, but who might be actually a pretty good manager, There's always a surprise at the World Cup. There's always a team or two that should go a little further that don't, or maybe don't make it out of a group or something like that. And you could be looking at, a pretty good team with a pretty good manager who don't make it out. And all of a sudden then Southampton's decision is nearly made for them, where they go, you know what? This is the guy. This is where we go here. We know we can get him in, because obviously at the minute, I think it's even more evident than it ever was that the Premier League.
Just cut you off there. We're just starting to draw here now. Dino in the comments there, I reckon we get Real. It's written in the stars. Big up Dino. And RB Leipzig are the first team out in the draw. Dave's LFC.
I have Leipzig with Chelsea.
Okay, so we'll see who they get. Dave LFC chats in the comments as well. All right, Dave. Dave, let us know who you want. Who we gonna get? Great channel. Check it out there, guys. So Leipzig was the first one out, and let's see. They're just sorting the options for Leipzig. Let's say so. Leipzig is our first team out.
my 4 calls for the English clubs were Bayern and Liverpool, City and Eintracht Frankfurt, Spurs and Bruges, and Chelsea and RB Leipzig.
Leipzig just got Man City.
Okay.
Right. So Leipzig will play Man City. That's a very good draw. I'm looking forward to that one.
That's a decent game.
Yeah, to see the boy and Kunku and all up against their defence and all. That should be good. Next team out. Bruges.
Bruges. I really want them to get Tottenham, and I really want them to knock them out. Because I am not an Antonio Conte fan. I am not. I repeat, not. When he came in, he was doing a great job at Spurs, and now all the United fans were like, we should have got Conte, we should have got Conte. I was like, just bide your time. This will implode, and it's begun. So I am absolutely delighted with myself.
Benfica.
I'm not getting any of these right, am I? Jesus.
So Bruges versus Benfica. So that's one of our options gone.
So that narrows it down for you guys, yeah. Now you're at Porto, Bayern, and Real.
Dino might be right. Next
25%. The 25% chance just went to 33%, right?
Liverpool just came out.
Okay, here we go.
So Liverpool versus Dino. Fingers crossed. Davo, fingers crossed. Come on, Porto.
I'm sticking with Bayern.
Yeah, Bayern or Porto. Just not Real. Bayern or Porto. Dino, as usual, never a tough draw. Easiest draw possible. Absolutely. Fingers crossed here. Real Madrid.
Oh, no.
Real Madrid. Good Lord, Dino. Oh, God. That's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
It will be a tough one.
We may put a full Warren's in the comments. Real Madrid. Good Lord. We may put a full squad out for the derby game on Wednesday. AC Milan out next. God, we're surrounded by previous experience, aren't we? Liverpool versus Real Madrid, and AC Milan comes out. Good Lord. No getting away from these teams. Oh, let us know in the chat.
This is European pedigree, Niall, isn't it?
This is do or die. This is do or die. Those players better get back fit. Tottenham get AC Milan. They'll be very happy with that.
I think they will be happy with that.
Yeah, that's a very good draw for Tottenham.
I don't think the boy Emerson Royale will be too delighted with it because your man Raphael Leao will rip him.
Bear me there 1 second. I have someone at the door.
Absolutely.
No problem. Cheers, thanks. Now I'm back. Who came out there? Who did I miss? Eintracht, is it? Frankfurt, I think. I don't know, Warren. Warren reckons Spurs out. Warren, do you mean out of the competition or you mean out of the pot? I think they'll do all right against AC.
I don't think that's a bad draw.
And get Napoli. That'll be a great draw for Napoli.
That's Eintracht going out.
Yeah, absolutely. Up next, Dortmund. Let's see who Dortmund get. They can either get Chelsea, Porto, or Bayern Munich. Chelsea, Bayern Munich.
They can't get Bayern.
That's what they just said they can.
They can't share Dortmund, they're a German team.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. That's who they had. Sorry, they had highlighted the ones they can't get. Sorry.
There we go.
So it's Chelsea. Chelsea get Dortmund.
I think that's a really good draw for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Really good draw for Chelsea. They couldn't have look at the graphic. I think they'll take that all day long if I'm honest.
So we've two matches to go. Up next
Still
coming out.
still no PSG yet.
No. Inter Milan.
I reckon we got Inter PSG. What do you think?
Can we get Inter got Porto, is it? Inter got Porto. And now next out is Paris Saint-Germain, PSG.
Against Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
You know.
Tell you, the English clubs will be who does Dazzler want for United in the Europa League? Question from Warren. Juve?
Be honest with you. I prefer one of the bigger teams because I might go over and have a butcher's eye.
Ajax?
But, no, I'd prefer Barca or Juve, something like that, so I can go over and have a look at a bit of decent football, hopefully, you know. Barca would be ideal.
But in terms of who you'd want to get through, it wouldn't be Barcelona, would it? It'd be a tougher tie.
But listen, you're not going to win the Champions League or the Europa without beating some good teams along the way.
Warren in the comments, I just want Spurs to suffer. You're thinking like Darren there. Darren's of the same.
I agree with you, Warren. Yeah,
100%.
I agree with you. We were watching football in the house yesterday, and the brother-in-law was there, you know, and he was watching the game. He says, "Jesus, I've never seen you hate two people like you hate Trent Alexander-Arnold and Antonio Conte." I said, "I don't hate Trent. He's just shy." I said, "Conte, I hate though. You've that one right." You know.
Very, very interesting. Dino back in the comments, my man Dino. Well, we'll have everyone back. Good break till after Christmas. I reckon we'll do them, boys. Outside of LFC, people will say I'm stupid, but I'm confident. Yeah, we kind of owe them one, but it's kind of, if you look down through history, we've kind of always owed them one. So it's like, you know, when are we eventually going to actually give them one? I think the tough thing for it really is the fact that we're at home for the first leg. That's what's going to make it really tough. I think if we could have went away, maybe try and keep it tight and then bring them back to Anfield, we might be able to do a job on them and stuff like that. But they're so good, aren't they, Real Madrid? We're going to need everyone back. Would I suggest a sprinkling of signings?
That works both ways as well, though, because, look, I mean, they're not going to want to go to Anfield. And if you guys can turn them over, you know, 2-1, 3-1 at Anfield, you know, you can go into the second leg knowing what your job is. Like, Klopp can send out 10 defenders if he has to in the second leg. You know, if you've got that lead from the home leg. Do you know what I mean? But I don't necessarily think the which game where you play first will play a huge amount into it. You know, I think Liverpool can beat Real over 2 legs. Now, how likely do I think it is? I'd say it's probably, you know, 40% chance they'll beat them. I'd stack the chips on the Real side right now based on how the season is going for both teams. But that's not to say, I mean, Forest were able to turn Liverpool over. So don't tell me Liverpool can't turn Real Madrid over. Do you know what I'm saying? On the day, anything can happen. Liverpool put their best foot forward. They turn in one of those European performances in, you know, under the lights at Anfield, get a lead and then take it back and squeeze something out of it in Madrid.
I love that comparison, doesn't it? Liverpool can definitely turn Real over. She didn't Forest turn Liverpool over. That makes it nearly even worse when I hear that. What a comparison.
But I'm saying, like, we don't play football on paper.
Yeah.
If we did, it'd be a real boring game.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
right. So I'm gonna go down through the draw here. Give me who you think goes through, and then give me has your thoughts on who's going to win it changed at the end of that, right? So we got Leipzig versus Man City. And we got Bruges versus Benfica. You're low. You're very low down there. I can barely hear you now. No, can't hear you at all now. And then we've got Liverpool versus Real. Real. Yeah, your volume's gone right down.
Hang on, take
That's
the
better.
out.
I have you now. Yeah, you're perfect now.
Perfect, lovely.
Milan versus Tottenham. Milan, you're gone down again. I don't know if you're putting your hand over it or. Let us know as well in the chat, guys, who you're picking from each of the toys and who you think your overall winner's going to be. Frankfurt versus Napoli. Napoli. Can't hear. Your volume's totally gone.
I'll take them out. Hang on.
There, you're perfect now.
Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Right.
Dortmund versus Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Inter versus Porto.
Inter.
And PSG versus Bayern.
PSG.
And overall winner?
City.
Okay. Warren's in the comments. Warren's going for Man City, Benfica, Real, Milan. He's going for Frankfurt over Napoli. That's a big shout, Warren. That's a huge shout.
Frankfurt if he's going for that, Napoli. Tell him to go to the bookies and go for it.
Yeah, that's Warren, Darren reckons go to the bookies. And then he has Bayern and he has Real.
If he did a Frankfurt Bayern double, he could sit down for a week or two. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, Bayern versus PSG. Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Warren, they're decent. Bayern, yeah. I definitely give Bayern more of a chance against PSG than I would Frankfurt versus Napoli.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. But yeah, some interesting picks there. Again, if anyone else is in the chat there, if you want to let us know what your picks are. And Warren, what's your overall winner? Who you got? Real, you're going for overall, I presume. Is it after Bayern? Yeah, Real is his overall pick. Yeah, European royalty. How could you pick against them, at times? But this has been our coverage of the Champions League draw round of 16. What a draw it's been. Good for some, not so good for others. Well, look, we'll take it and we'll prepare for it. We've got 3 months to get ready for it or more. And as Dino said in the comments, we'll have a lot of players back. I'm sure it won't be too bad in January when we sign Bellingham and Rice. We should be well set up for it then, We'll keep the faith. Who knows what might happen, huh?
I think you've more chance of signing Uncle Ben than Rice.
Probably more chance of beating Real, to be honest. Until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure bringing you the draw, as always. Oh, Daz is in. Hang on, before we go, Daz is in the comments. We can't go without saying Daz. Big up, Niall. City, Spurs, Liverpool. Porto, Bayern, winner, Liverpool. Winner, Liverpool. Big shout, Daz. Big shout. I like that. Thanks, Warren. Warren saying superb stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Daz was obviously out on the Jamaican Woodbines last night. He hasn't come down off the high.
We're bringing that positivity. That's all it is. Positivity. We'll go get slapped up now by Derby on Wednesday or something like that. This is what happens, but hopefully not anyway.
I mean, who do you play on Wednesday? Considering you've been playing the second team most of the season, like, so who comes in on Wednesday? Like, what's?
Yeah, we'll rotate the first team in.
Right. Okay.
No, you're gonna get Ox and Jones, aren't you? You'll get Carvalho, you'll get Bietic. At the back, Joe Gomez, Quavine will come in and goals, I would imagine. I don't know. I wonder with the break coming up, I wonder would he go a little bit stronger because we'll want to defend the cup as well. And I wonder would the draw against Real now change his mind in terms of the priority of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup? Who knows? Maybe not. Yeah. We will be back anyway. I'll be back tonight at 9 o'clock with the Monday mashup. Where we go through all the Premier League action of the weekend. Plenty of talking points coming out of that. We'll also probably do a little preview of the Carabao Cup, of course, and we'll go in depth and talk a little bit more about Ralph Hasenhüttl and his time at Southampton. Until next time, if you could, folks, a like on the video, subscribe on the channel, and hit that bell notification, and we'll talk to you again real soon.